Well, and hello to you. Stay on screen, stay right in that shot for you. How are you doing? Welcome once again to Tottenham USA. I am DJ Paul for the Rude Boy Sound. Was the special guest, and I wanted to listen to some of the things that Lennon is actually saying as it pertains to his time at Spurs and some narratives that are out there. I'm not going to give it away, but I'm going to start it and I'm going to try and let it run for as long as I can. It's going to be about 8 minutes long. The entire video is 9 minutes. So I'm going to cut out the part of it. I'm going to just get to the part that is pertaining mostly to Spurs. It might start a little ahead, so bear with me and see where we go from here. Let's take a listen to the discussion about Tottenham and them being out of the cup.
So back to Spurs, and it's been a week, oh dear, to forget for Big Ange.
Back onto his right, lays it to Marlon, shot comes in, cleared off the line, and fired in! Morgan Rogers turns it in, and Aston Villa have got their second goal. Misery for Ange Postecoglou, dumped out of the Carabao Cup in midweek. Now they are out of the FA Cup as well.
It's not just the injuries, they're not just something seems wrong, and yesterday their setup seemed wrong.
Everything's now in that Europa League pot. We have to go for it.
So that's the post-mortem starting right there. And of course, like I said, I don't feel any emotions or so from the actual loss.
We'd show you his derriere.
It was me, you and them, Phil, weren't it?
At that time, yeah.
Was that Nike
The Nike Boys, the Nike Boys won it.
Well, that annoying Nike advert, part of it was bloody dribbling the speed. I had no chance against him. I was behind him and Theo, and the dribbling part, but no, as a rapid.
Yeah, I'd give him this. He'd give me a good race in a straight line.
Yeah,
but
if you have to turn.
If you have to turn, then there's no chance.
If you have to chop.
So out of both domestic cups in the space of a week for Tottenham, but when Big Ange first joined the club 18 months ago, things looked a lot rosier, didn't they? And his first 10 league games in charge of Tottenham were top of the league, 8 wins and 2 draws. Then came the infamous 4-1 loss to Chelsea, where Spurs finished with 9 players, and Ange declared that he wouldn't change his approach even if they were down to 5.
Well, I'm going to stick a pin right there. And the reason why I'm sticking a pin there to interject what I'm going to say is when that particular episode happened, I know it has been beaten up all over the shop. You know, the infamous Chelsea. And that's a benchmark on Ange coming to Spurs, and you can see the steady decline from after that. But one of the things that I personally walked away with, and I was giving him credit for actually saying that, because at the time my thinking at the time was that, not knowing Ange as well as we do now, a year and a half later, was him saying that my system, the implementation of what I want, is more and was more important than that particular game. And therefore, the things that I want to put in place, that particular game should never have an impact on how we are going to have an upward trajectory. We all know how that turns out. We all know that it did not work out that way. But for me, I'm going to put my hand up and say I didn't have a problem with it. And the reason why I did not have a problem with it was because there needed to be a shift in the culture. There need to be a shift in how we played. And so if the manager comes in and he said, look, we are going to be a front foot football. Listen, I didn't agree with standing on the half line, being up and not try to see if you could defend it for as long as you could defend it. But then again, that's where he wants to start his defense. And so the tactical part of that really get exposed. But the message in doing it is what I'm talking about. That if you are going to be adamant that this is what you're doing, you better darn get it right. And from that game, as you can tell, Ange has not gotten it right. But I want to make sure that I am not going to say, well, I did not agree with him. I was 100% in agreement with him that the culture needed to change, the way we played need to be changed. And if it comes down to that, what we see in that instance against Chelsea, then the determination to get through what I need to get through as a manager, that is to the extent to which I would go. I did not think that he would literally have, the men on the line if we were down to 5. I honestly do not believe that. That will be foolhardy. But I think the message was that we are going to be an attacking football, and even if we are down, to men or we're up on the board, it does not matter which way we are down. We are going to play our football. And so I took that not as it being silly, but more to say, well, then here we come. This is what we're going to do. We're going to be brave, and this is how we're going to play. So accept me, Ange, and my ball, because this is what I intend to deliver. Let's continue to listen.
And it's been inconsistent ever since. Aaron, it's difficult, because great club, Spurs. Have you been frustrated with their approach this season? Not just the results, their approach.
Yeah, definitely. Frustration is probably the right word to use. It's been difficult to watch, actually, as recent weeks have gone by. It's been really difficult. Look, the injury list is shocking. And that's, to me, there's more to it. You don't just have reoccurrence injuries, injury after injury, whether that's the training load, whether that's players coming back too early, whether it's mismanagement, I don't know. But there's a massive problem there, what needs solving. But yeah, it's been a frustrating season. Like you said, the start of last season when Ange came in, it was like a buzz, and look, everyone was like, we've got our Tottenham back, and you're watching it this season, and it's, like I said, it's been a difficult watch these last few weeks.
Turning on the chairman, the owner now, Daniel Levy, is it his fault? Because he's produced money for players, hasn't he?
And this is the thing, and we've
Yes. This is where I'm imploring you to listen. I'm not going to talk over what Aaron is saying. I just put up the information on my laptop over here, to my right here. And I'm looking at the information that's there. And I myself was actually shocked to know that. Let Aaron take a shot at it, and then I may come back, or I might let it rest right there. There are 2 points in there I want you to listen to. Take a listen.
I've had these conversations for years. Even when I was at Spurs, there was times then when the fans were calling for Daniel's head and for the board to be out. And look, there's been times when I felt Spurs should have gone in and bought a few players. There was a few squads. There was one I played in, and I remember thinking, if we get a couple of big signings here, we could challenge here. Pochettino had a squad also, I thought similar. But I was looking at the Ange situation, obviously, since Ange has been in, and they've spent a lot of money. I think they spent like close to 400 million in 4.
Should have some people say to me, guys, that we get good players, but we don't.
Let's continue to listen to Aaron.
The thing in it, so if you can spend in 400 million, but if you're buying, I don't know, 30 million, 40 million here and there, and buying 20 of them, do you know what I mean?
But you have to build though. So save.
Let me put a pause right. I'm gonna roll this back. I think I overshot the message on what Aaron was saying in terms of the spending, and so I'm going to roll the tape back just a little and listen to what he was saying. I think I overshot my purpose on what I was explaining, but listen to what he's saying in terms of what Ange was afforded in his first year and a half.
Pochettino had a squad also, I thought similar. But I was looking at the Ange situation, obviously, since Ange has been in, and they've spent a lot of money. I think they're like close to 400 million in four.
Should have some people say to me, guys, that we get good players, but we don't really push the ball out and get a great player.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? So if you can spend in 400 million, but if you're buying, I don't know, 30 million, 40 million here and there, and buying 20 of them, do you know what I mean?
But you have to build though. So say if Ange got Champions League last season, then maybe you attract a different sort of player.
No, well, 100%. They were just they finished just behind Villa fifth last season, and that's what you do. It's when you get close, then you've got to keep building. Do you know what I mean? You've got to keep buying and strengthening the squad. Where they've bought, and then is it down to who's buying the players? Because I can tell you, Daniel won't get involved in buying the players. He will give you the money. I don't know how much he's given.
Who does buy them?
I forgot the fella's name. I don't know if
they've got a sporting director.
They've got a sporting director in there. We don't know how much they say the manager has on these players coming in, and I just feel as if over the last 4 or 5 seasons, I just think they've bought badly. I thought, listen, they've bought a few good players in. But I just don't think there's enough, and I think that's what's catching up with them also. I think they've bought badly and they've spent badly over the last few seasons, and the gap between Spurs and the big boys is massive.
Do you think as well, watching like Son, I've watched him like obviously since he made his debut at Spurs, been an outstanding player, but when I watch him now, you can tell as the yards gone. They don't knock it past players as much as they used to. Yeah,
and it's either the yard's gone or the confidence. The confidence is gone. It's funny, isn't it? When you've been coming into a Sunday, Gabs, and it's zapped out of you. But when, like I said, to me, Sunday season at times he looks frustrated, and like I said, his confidence has dropped. Not just him, like I said, the full squad.
But Al, the game against Villa recently, I'm watching the first goal in the first 2 minutes.
I'm gonna put a pause on this right here. I think Gabby is going to get back into explaining. I'm doing it for him because I'm going to put a wrap on the video itself and the main points of what I wanted to get out of the video was communicated. And so we have this narrative that Ange or Daniel Levy are strictly. I think I lost my train right here. I lost my train of thought right here. There are lots going on. There are lots going on. In the house, and so I lost my thought process in what I wanted to say over the video. But the important thing here, right, is that when you look at the amount of money that was spent, if I'm repeating, then I apologize. But when you look at the amount of money that was allotted to Ange, 402 million pounds is the number when I did the research, and that's a lot of money. And when you really look at that from the year before, you're going to ask yourself some question. Harry Kane is gone, who was a starter. Lloris doesn't factor in there. David Sanchez wasn't really a starter. Eric Dyer wasn't really a starter. So there were things that were happening, before Ange took over, and all those players went. And when you really and truly look at it, 400 million is a lot of money. And so you have a bulk of the money. At the end of the day, just to back up that $400 million, it's gross spending. Just for the information and for clarity. Over the period of time that Ange, for the 3 windows, that 1, 2, 3 first, then the window, then this is his 4th window. 2 here, 2 there. Yes, so this is a 4th window. And so on average, to be honest with you, if you're spending 100 million pounds per window, that's a whole lot of money for what you're getting. But when you look at it and you look at what the net spending is, the net spending is actually at, I think, 273. That's what the actual net spending work out to be. So we did take some money in, and that was led by the Hurricane, 91 million pounds that we got back from Hurricane. So we're starting at a position, right, wherein that amount was knocked off. But because what it spoke about later is having so many players that we have a lot of players. We bought a lot of players with that kind of money, but they actually do not have any resale value. And so when you're selling Iberg and you're selling Skip and all the players that we're selling, and none of them is hitting the $30 million mark, the Lo Celso and so on and so on. You have to sell a lot of players for you to be able to take a $400 million and bring it down to 273. That's a lot of players when you consider that of the 200 or the 100 and something that came down off of that, Hurricane account for 91 million. So that's a lot of players that we're talking about, 5, 6, 7 players to make up the difference of what that is. And at the same time, the extent of the argument or the extent of the conversation is you cannot continue to sell 7 and 8 players per window. It simply means that you're buying poorly before, or your team is not improving. If your team is improving, then you're supposed to be selling maybe 2 players, 3 players, bringing in the same, because now what you want to do is that you still want to affect your squad, wherein your squad, as I spoke about, is improving. And so we're spending money in a lot of places, but it's not improving the areas. Like, for example, even though we spent $140 something million in the win, I think 147 million if you consider what we spent for Gray. And I think there's a net difference with Gray right there. That's where the net really comes in, is what we spent on Brennan Johnson. But even if we just come into this season, let's just look at just the season all by itself. Solanke and Gray picks up the bulk of that $147 million that we spend on. And then we're talking about Odegaard that comes in. So 3 players picked up, $140 million. And what are the returns for those players just in the August window? Remember, Bergvall was already on the books from January. And we did not affect the start in the lineup from last year. We brought in Solanke, which we needed to have a striker. It was a must to have a striker, and we brought one in for $65 million. And so when you look around the team itself, the team never improved, and this led me to the other part of what I wanted to say in respect to what Aaron Lennon was saying, right, is that even though we spent $400 million, right, it was not properly distributed. And in this case, who do we blame for that happening? Who gets the responsibility of recommending or making sure that the budget on the financial side, forget about who does the scouting, forget about that. If you're going to bring players in, obviously the scouts are going to go out there and just going to get involved. So we're going to put everyone in the same basket. We're going to put Yuan Lang in the same basket. We're going to put Scott Munn in the same basket. And we're going to put Rob McKenzie and Ange Postecoglou. So those 4, as far as players are concerned, are going to be in the same basket for the purpose of this discussion. Now, the odd man that is going to be left out there is Daniel Levy. And if you're looking or you're listening to what Aaron was saying, he's saying that even during his time under Pochettino and other managers, right, Daniel Levy, I don't know if this is breaking news, or this is, a point of reference that needs to be hammered home. He said Daniel Levy was never the man to go out there and said he's going to give you a player. And we hear that so many times, that we hear that Daniel Levy, right, is the man that's going to go out there and he's going to find players for the manager. And so I'm a little leery hearing, this kind of rhetoric that Daniel Levy is out there and he's buying players, so to speak. There's nowhere here that is telling me that based on what Lennon said, that the director of football is the one that goes out there and get the players. That's what he said. The director of football goes out there. I'm going to scrub through here a bit because I want to go back to where Aaron Lennon was referring to who does the buying.
And they've spent a lot of money. I think they spent like close to 400 million in four.
Should have some people say to me, guys, that we get good players, but we don't really push the ball out and get a great player.
Well, that's the thing, innit? So if you can spend in 400 million, but if you're buying, I don't know, 30 million, 40 million here and there and buying 20 of them, do you know what I mean?
But you have to build, though. So say if Ange got Champions League last season, then maybe you attract a different sort of player.
No, well, 100%. They were just, they finished just behind Villa fifth last season. And that's what you do. It's when you get close, then you've got to keep building. Do you know what I mean? You've got to keep buying and strengthening the squad. Where they've bought, and then is it down to who's buying the players? Because I can tell you Daniel won't get involved in buying the players. He will give you the money. I don't know how much he's given.
Who does buy them?
I forgot the fella's name. I don't know if
they've got a sporting director.
They've got a sporting director in there. We don't know how much they say the manager has on these players coming in. And I just feel as if over the last 4 or 5 seasons, I just think they've bought badly. I thought, listen, they bought a few good players in.
Well, there's a reason why I went back to that, and it leaves me now to question some of the things that I heard, question some of the things that are being said. Aaron Lennon, who was a former player, is explicitly saying that during my tenure, it was the same narrative. It was the same narrative that was going on, and that Daniel Levy was buying players. And to him, he's mystified that people are saying Daniel Levy was given managers, players. What he said, which was interesting, is whether or not the manager has a lot of say over, say, the director of football and the scouts. That is something to be investigated. But one thing he did explicitly say is that the money went to the director of football, and the director of football is the one who is actually going out there and buying the players for the manager. I'm going to wrap it up here, but interesting stuff. So let me know what you think. I'm the road boy DJ Paul for the Tottenham USA. So let me know. It's getting a little bit, rowdy, and I'm losing my concentration. So I definitely have to go. And hopefully you get the sense of what I'm trying to get out of this particular video. Here is that we did spend a lot of money. Part of it is that we did not spend it in the right places. Daniel Levy don't actually go out there and scout and make deals according to what is always out there in the public's domain, Aaron Lennon, that's not the case, and so we can explore that a little bit more. And so I kind of like the conversation from someone from the inside. So I back that up. Yes, we do spend a lot of money, or did spend a lot of money so far, on Ange Postecoglou, and we haven't had much in return. And so I'm going to leave this conversation right here, and hopefully we can pick it up later on when I get some more information. What I'm going to actually do, as a matter of fact, you can look for that in my next video. I'm going to actually look at the spending per manager to see what we have and see how much we spend per manager. I know the narrative out there already is that we never actually buy the players that we want. Part of that is that's fans talk. That's not actually what the director of football is looking at, or the scout. That's all fans and their fantasy, wet dreams of getting players, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying in some cases we don't botch deals, but 90% or more of the time, the players that we want as fans, or we think should be at the club, it's only a wet dream. Nothing to do with what's going on behind the scenes, and who's buying, who's spending, who's responsible for bringing in players, and who's responsible for letting players go. That's what I'm getting from the conversation. That the things that we think we know have absolutely nothing to do with what is actually happening out there. And so I'm going to leave it right there. Again, I'm the Rude Boy DJ Paul. If you want to know where that background is, that background right there is actually part of my vacation in Montego Bay, Jamaica. That's one of the Ryu resort in Montego Bay. And so if you want to know about it, I always support Jamaica. I'm a Jamaican, of course, and so if you want more information on that, you could drop comment in my post, and I will send some information towards that. I did have a great time. I'm selling Jamaica to you all, and so you can go online and look up Ryu Trelawney or Ryu Montego Bay. They're all great, or Ryu Ocherias, whatever the names are, and you can book your vacation and go to Jamaica and have fun. I'm a Jamaican, so I have to sell Jamaica. See you. I'm out of here. Be good, walk good. Until next time.